thing.
Hello.
She even says hello, stupid.
Hello.
All right. She can't even. It's hello.
It's enough.
Hello.
Special JonBenet Today Bulletin.
This is a special episode, folks. We gotta jump in here. Sunday night, a travesty occurred.
Of global international repercussions.
60 Minutes Australia did some sort of stupid fucking piece.
Which I thought they measured in meters, so it doesn't even make any sense.
That's a good point. They don't even have minutes.
They got different measurements. They don't got minutes.
I think it's like parsecs.
Their toilets go backwards, so their poop shoots into their butts.
But Sunday night, it looks like Jon Ramsey seems to have sponsored some sort of. Apparently, you can just buy, spots on 60 Minutes because they did an atrocious piece covering the JonBenet investigation.
Bobby, you watched it.
I watched all of it, and it was terrible. They also clickbaited it with the video. It says JonBenet, new evidence.
No evidence.
And it's fucking not.
And it's like, this is going to be like the definitive new update, 2024 of, the Ramsey case. And, it's 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes is a storied institution.
It used to be, apparently.
Used to be. You Walter Cronkite and, Christine Episode.
And you're not going to waste my 60 Minutes, no?
No. 60 Minutes is what I can't watch the news every fucking day, but on a Sunday while I'm eating a Salisbury steak, a Lansbury steak maybe, I can sit down and I can not, look at the scars on my wife's face from, whatever. And I can watch 60 Minutes and I can be an informed citizen of the world.
Right. So they launched this on Sunday, and I'm glad we knew it was coming because we saw a trailer for it, and I didn't know if we were going to be able to watch it in the States.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, they made it available. The YouTube has rightfully so turned the comments off.
They turn them off.
Yeah. Well, it's because when we're going to delve into this in this little bonus mini episode where we're going to break this down and all the stupid shit they say. So I think we can go ahead and start off. Donna, you want to go ahead and hit play on this?
They made up their mind on day one. And the conclusion was that I killed my daughter.
Okay, inaccuracy number fucking one.
He's talking about the cops. They.
Mm-hmm. And that wasn't what happened at all.
That wasn't what happened. Tell him what happened, Bobby.
I mean, if anything, it was fucking Patsy.
What do you mean?
I mean, if anything, it was fucking Patsy that they were more gunning towards. But I'm just saying they didn't make up their mind on day one. They definitely suspected them.
Day one, they thought it was a kidnapping. And then her body was found, and they, how could you make up your mind about anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, no. But he's saying that the cops already believed that it was him and Patsy.
No, just him.
Just him.
Just him. That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, that's the more accurate statement would have been if they made up their mind on day one and they wanted to say Patsy did it. I'd believe that. But Jon trying to be a victim here, which is like, shut up, dude. That wasn't even. Really the supposition there, but
his poops must be so wet.
So that's just a mini one. We're gonna keep going. This is just gonna get more and more infuriating. Okay. Go ahead and hit that for us, Donna.
Jon Ramsey discovered his daughter behind a basement door no one had bothered to open. She'd been sexually assaulted and strangled to death.
No.
No, absolutely not. Okay, there's so many things already in that little clip. Oh my God.
And the first one that comes to mind for me is that was the first mention of this, and there was no mention of the head injury. And so I gave him, a pass for that. I was like, okay, just one time if you want to try to throw it my way. Right. No, at no point during this entire fucking piece do they ever mention that she was hit over the head.
They never talk about the fact that she got a crack in her skull from some blunt object hitting her head, but not breaking the skin and causing blood. And so in that little clip, they didn't mention that. They also said something along the lines of her being sexually assaulted, which we've never really received any kind of compelling evidence, in my opinion. We know that she had vaginitis and shit, and that was, she could, because she also constantly had bathroom accidents, and they never taught her how to take care of them or prevent them. Instead,
exactly,
they would Patsy would try to clean it up herself, because Jon wasn't really there. So one, you're pairing in a line of sexual assault when we don't know why would they say that? What evidence is there, Bobby?
I'm sorry, there's a cat fucking this toy in the background.
Oh my God.
He's just straight up humping that.
Oh my God.
He's just going, sorry, I got so distracted.
No, honestly,
so the evidence,
if you guys could see this cat right now, this cat's about to fucking just burst.
Can you take a picture real quick?
I'm not taking a picture of that.
That's fine.
That's disgusting.
But so the evidence, though, that she was sexually assaulted, though, is, again, we point to the inflammation of the vaginal area, which is, could just be typical vaginitis. Mm-hmm. But they've also said that it seems like there might have been some sort of digital penetration.
Digital, like
they've talked about they've talked about with the paintbrush, possibly being inserted in her vagina, and that her hymen was, while it wasn't broken, This was the thing that they used for that she might have been assaulted before.
Okay.
That her hymen wasn't broken, but it was shriveled to a point of where it, like, almost as if it reacted to, you know.
Yeah.
Some sort of, but we also have talked
Shriveled
before,
like a grape. Her hyphen was
The
shriveled.
cherry shriveled like a grape?
Not the cherry.
Hello.
But we've also talked about how, you know, her and Burke have played doctor. So it's like, we don't know what exactly that entailed. But the sexual abuse thing is something they've always harped on over the years to make it seem like, you know, no matter what, this was a pedophile.
Yeah.
But the more important thing is they're leaving out the head injury. This is it's weird, and it's like it's a constant thing with them of always trying to say that, you know, she was definitely, no matter what, strangled first and then hit over the head. Patsy's always tried to say those series of events have to be it, and that's not true.
And in this case, they're not even bringing up the head injury. They're just trying to make it sound that she was sexually assaulted and then strangled to death.
And then never throughout this episode did they ever bring up the head injury.
Maybe Australia has different standards of journalism, but it sounds to me like they're not telling the fucking truth. And also, they showed video for people who are on the YouTube and the Patreon that can see it. They showed video of the crime scene that was recorded, and I didn't realize that footage wasn't recorded right when the cops came to the house.
That's true. Now they restaged the scene later that night. It was around I think it was 9-ish, when they're going back to the scene.
So anytime you see any crime scene footage at all of the JonBenet case, you are seeing after her body was already removed from that location. And the reason why the video is so dark is because they filmed it at 9 p.m. at night on the 26th. And she was discovered, in quotations, because I don't believe that fucking story, by her father around 1 p.m., even though during that one deposition, he seemed to act like he didn't know when, but he always says it was 1 p.m.
And Linda Arndt asked you to go down to the basement. I think that was sometime in the early afternoon.
I don't remember the time, I really don't. And then finally, the police asked me to look through the house thoroughly, and I found her in the basement about 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
So it's almost like one of those things where you're recreating the crime scene. Do you think her body was actually in that, or was that just a clump of clothes then?
No. Well, no, they didn't retake her body downstairs. I've actually read the report where they were doing that reenactment while her body was still up by the Christmas tree.
Oh my gosh.
But they did re-put the, blankets back as much as they could go off of, and they also re-put the suitcase back by the window where it originally was.
Things. They're messing with the
because they were told. Well, that's the other thing, because they opened the window, which that was not It wasn't
originally open. When you see that suitcase and that window, said the window was broken.
And which is stupid, because even in that 2020, this 60-minute special, this stupid detective, I forget his name, John DeSouza or something.
St. Augustine.
John St. Augustine.
You were talking about
he's like, I'm not a Sherlock, but this is a clue. You got an open window.
Yeah, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes, right, to know that this is what we call a clue, right? You got an open window, you got a scuff mark on the wall, you have a suitcase.
And it's like, okay, motherfucker.
Oh my God, I can't wait I want to.
Yeah, let's keep going. So now we're going to move on to, the stun gun theory. We don't have to hit play yet. I want to explain.
Don't fucking hit play yet, Donna. God damn it, take your finger off that fucking mouse.
This was something that was started by Lou Smith. There are
the intruder theory.
Suspicious marks on JonBenet that he believes were burn marks from a stun gun.
They were like little dots.
They were little dots. So go ahead and play this clip here.
A stun gun, to me, would not identify the killer, right? It would help in your defense, right, but it wouldn't identify the killer. We know a stun gun was used, right? The pictures indicate that. When she went to bed that night, those marks were not there. When she was found the next day, those burn marks were there. It's clear as day.
Burn marks, like cigarette burns or something.
Right.
But were they as big as that, or were they smaller?
No, and they're not even. It doesn't do that. Is the thing is we found the information that shows that basically that when you get stunned like that, number one, it doesn't leave a mark like that. We've had there was a pathologist in a 48 Hours special that looked into. His name was Dr. Warner Spitz, who looked into it, and he's basically saying that he's 100% sure there was no stun gun because those injuries do not look that way. And basically, he's saying that those little marks on her are more consistent with snap buttons on clothes, because based on the pictures that what he can see, it looks like almost a little sailboat in one of those little in one of the little burn marks.
In one of the little marks, it looks like almost like a little snail, not a snail boat, a sailboat.
Like a button shaped as a sailboat.
Which also they like sailboats, so maybe sometimes JonBenet could have an outfit that has a sailboat emblem because it's something that her family does.
That's right, and I believe it was Steve Thomas who also had theorized that those marks also could have came from Burke's train tracks as they matched the exact little jagged ends.
Like the male parts that stick out.
But the stun gun thing is something that the Ramseys have tried to keep going for.
For some reason, they keep trying to push that there was some kind of stun gun that left some sort of almost like tiny like little vampire like little or like a hole punch
when you get stunned by a stun gun, guess what? You're not just immediately like complacent and quiet. Yeah. People will scream sometimes when they get struck by it. It's not a thing that's, going to immediately knock you out or anything like that.
Yeah. And unless you only saw it in movies, something like that.
Right.
But also so far they're talking about the stun gun, this is supposed
to be a new evidence special. Yeah. So it's that was one of the pieces of evidence that they're bringing back up, like, they didn't fully explore it was a stun gun. The next one is attempted rape of this girl Amy Hill in September of 1997, not far from where the Ramseys lived.
After JonBenet,
a woman basically woke up to her daughter, like whimpered like hushes from the room, and she ran in there, and there was a man in there, and he ran out past her, and that was basically the whole thing.
He had raped Amy Hill.
Yes, and that's again, this is the big other new evidence they try to bring up, which this was actually something that was already debunked and explored by the Boulder Police back 25 fucking years ago.
What?
25 fucking years ago. And there's even a whole thing where the victim's father, in September of 1997, sex assault, he demanded that the police stop investigating the case when detectives began interviewing the victim's male friends.
Oh.
And so it's a thing where, again, this was a thing where the Boulder Police never found any connection. This is something that was explored.
Something that was explored back in 2000, 2002?
Yeah. Back it was 2001, I believe.
2001. Obviously September around 9/11. And it was something that it's not a new piece of evidence.
No.
At all. Because they're obviously trying to maybe look into it to try to figure out.
Which also sounds suspicious, because if I remember correctly on that, he was away on like a business trip or some shit.
Which is a perfect alibi for someone who wants to rape his daughter and make it seem like he wasn't there.
Yeah, maybe Boulder just breeds bad dads. But. So, again, they explore this pretty often throughout this thing. That's really the only other they think is new stuff. But then they go and they talk about, this is, now we want to put you guys in the mindset of the PR campaign that is the Ramseys. This is the shit they were doing. Remember when we were exploring the grand jury stuff? The Ramseys were indicted by a grand jury, and the DA decided not to go after them. Since this was sealed, the Ramseys had 13 years to just go and say,
whatever they want.
Grand jury didn't indict us. Like, we're cleared.
The grand jury refused to indict us, and it takes very little evidence to indict someone.
Revelation today in the 17-year-old unsolved murder of JonBenet Ramsey. It turns out a grand jury investigating the case all those years ago voted to indict the little girl's parents on charges related to the murder.
They said it in their own book that the jury found them innocent when they didn't.
Yeah, and then the same thing happens now where we're seeing this now in 2024, where go ahead and play this next clip. This is after Mary Lacey, the DA, in 2008, inappropriately came out and said the Ramseys are cleared from being suspects.
I remember.
Which the now DA, again, has taken that back and been like, she should have never done that.
It was unprofessional.
So here's how 60 Minutes presents that.
In 2008, 12 years after the murder of little JonBenet, the Ramsey family was finally cleared as suspects.
Cleared?
Yeah, and that's how they present that bit of information.
I don't remember playing no cleared song for the Ramseys.
We sure as fucking didn't. And I don't see it happening anytime in the future.
And fuck you, 60 Minutes Australia, and you slow fucking mouth breathing, fucking stupid ass, fucking correspondent voiceover bitch. I don't know your name, and I don't want to know it.
If you listen to the last episode with John, that John had an inappropriate relationship with her too, where he was a suspect in the case and he was going to her office and visiting her.
It's an ongoing investigation, because even to this day, even if someone were to be like, if John Ramsey were to say, hey, I didn't kill her, I didn't try to cover it up, and yet here he was around shortly after his wife was dead, observed and it documented that he was going into Mary Lacey's office and having conversations with her off the record as someone related to an ongoing investigation.
And then that person that you're going to have conversations with sends out a public letter basically exonerating you and your dead wife and apologizing for ever looking into you when this is still an open investigation.
The same year that it is revealed to the public that the grand jury over a decade earlier wanted to indict that same person going into that district attorney's office.
Exactly. So you guys noticing a pattern here then?
They
always try to get ahead of stuff. So here is them still talking about that umbrella of suspicion, even after they were cleared, though.
With no killer behind bars, widespread suspicion surrounding the family's involvement persists to this day.
There's still a large portion of the world that still thinks the family had something to do with it. And it's only because of why? It's because of the narrative that has been pushed for so many years that it had to be somebody in the family. Not based on evidence, based on what they believe, because their theory was that from the very beginning.
Okay, is that fucking guy?
Yeah, St. Augustine.
Detective St. Augustine?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy, he's a petulant fucking weasel. And him saying there's a large portion of people across the world who still think the family did it because they're told that in the media. And it's like, listen to me, motherfucker, this is number one what you guys are doing too.
He had a smirk on his face.
And his name's Detective John St. Augustine.
We're going to look into you, John St. Augustine. And I swear to God, if we find out you barely had anything to do with this case, we are going to destroy you.
Bobby is one of the best researchers. You better buckle up, John. You better pray to St. Augustine that you didn't have any
and again, so he's supposed to be the police representative in this case. And that's the thing. So
in this documentary.
And we also have to look at why are they doing this now? And we've theorized the possibility and what it seems like. The timing of this is very much timed with the new police chief that Boulder just hired. And it's a thing where it seems like they're trying to suppose that like, oh, we're friendly with them now, where it's like, oh, now that this new police chief's here, because we're going to look now at this next clip here where it's the Boulder Police actually wanted nothing to do with this fucking 60 Minutes thing. So they didn't even participate. So go ahead and play this.
Boulder Police declined to talk to 60 Minutes, but the force is making long overdue changes. Late last year, the new police chief retired or demoted the detectives involved in the JonBenet investigation and finally invited the Colorado cold case team to investigate, putting an end to 27 years of incompetence.
27 years of incompetence.
Yeah, no fucking wonder they didn't want to participate in your stupid
What is this yellow fucking journalism?
Make it seem like he's already on their side. The
almost
guy
like
that didn't want to participate.
Almost like they're trying to make him feel like he's in the in club or in the
play ball.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, we already like you, new guy, and we see where this is already how we're gonna tell the story. You better, look at what you're doing. Yeah.
And again, this is all their fucking PR campaign. And you know what? Kudos to Boulder Police Department for not fucking even trying to play a part, and fuck you, John St. Augustine, for whatever the hell you're doing here. But yeah, we're gonna close this out with one of my favorite things about this fucking documentary.
What's that?
And it's
because I really don't like anything about this documentary.
I understand. The other piece of evidence they're saying that they didn't really, fully explore is go ahead and play this for us, Donna.
But more importantly, what was inside of this suitcase, Amelia, were fibers that matched what JonBenet was wearing when her body was found by her dad, which means that at some point, potentially, her body might have been placed inside of that suitcase.
So what does this tell you? Is it particularly well planned? Is it?
No, this murder was extremely disorganized.
Right. So, yeah. First of all, you motherfucker, you want to talk about the fucking
You want to talk about a suitcase? We got a lot of things we can talk about suitcase. Ain't that right, Donna?
Ain't that right, John Andrew?
Right, John Andrew with a crusty.
We got your cum blanket in there and a Dr. Seuss book, all the places you'll go.
Listen, we all get horny time to time, reading about green eggs, reading about ham, but that you want to talk about the fibers of JonBenet's clothing was found inside that suitcase, but this guy, John St. Augustine, doesn't want to talk about the fact that there was also a blanket with a bunch of fucking little glue stick splotches on it of Andrew Ramsey's DNA of his fucking semen's.
And he's featured heavily throughout this thing. And when I remember talking with Teddy before, when we first saw the previews for this, I was worried where I was like, I think they're setting John Andrew up to be, the next spokesperson for this thing. And guess what? This fucking 60 Minutes Australia went ahead and confirmed it. Go ahead and did it.
John Andrew will soon take over from his elderly father in the family's battle for justice. And he vows not to give up until the killer is behind bars.
The facts are that the players in this case are still alive today, right? People with institutional knowledge are still here. Witnesses are still here. And the killer is likely still alive, right? He hasn't aged out, right? So if you look at those facts, the opportunity presents itself that we can, everything's lining up just right, that we can finally find this killer.
Yeah, it sure fucking is, John Andrew. It sure is lining up just right.
They made a
Donna.
But yeah, if you're gonna be, that's the thing is like that. What my fears were confirmed, and they're gonna have this John Andrew, who again, he wasn't even fucking there supposedly.
Yeah, who is this guy?
John Andrew
That's
is
her older brother, the one whose cum was on the blanket.
Who in this, by the way, in this 60 Minutes documentary, they don't ever fucking mention Burke at all. And when they introduce John Andrew, they say, JonBenet's brother, and it's like that's not his half brother.
Well, this guy also said he. He referred to the killer.
Because he very much is of the mind. He's already saying it's a sadistic pedophile. He's done this for years.
He's always like the DNA is going to reveal the answer.
Yeah, let's look at your fucking
just like Patsy, his stepmom, she would always say like it was a pedophile. Just like John always said. And it's like, what fucking proof do you have that it's a pedophile? The fact that she had vaginitis, which was already documented by her pediatrician, who she saw 18 times over the course of fucking 12 months or whatever the fuck. Like,
if anyone's a pedophile, it's the one that has the Dr. Seuss book in a suitcase.
And that's what I'm saying.
With a comrade.
For this Ramsey sponsored piece, I'm so surprised they let that piece of information, like, why are we even going to try to reintroduce the clothing fibers in the suitcase when it's like, if we're not going to talk about everything in the fucking suitcase.
Right, that's DNA in
Exactly.
They want to get a whole new generation of people to look at the case in a way that fits the way they want to be seen. And what they're doing so audaciously,
shame on you, 60
is that they are literally talking about areas in which we have found that there is something that needs to be examined there, or there are things that haven't been discussed, and they're just fucking like gaslighting. They're just going like, no, they're only like they don't even talk about the ransom letter in this documentary.
No, there's a brief mention of it. It's just that she found the ransom letter. It's just when it's showing you the recap of the events, like she found the ransom letter and then called the police. That's it.
And that's it.
But there's no talk about how that's important to the case because it's fucking weird.
There's no follow up to the.
There's no mention of Burke.
Not one fucking word is spoken about Burke.
Head injury or any of this shit. So it's like it's all just a hit. And then so somebody a few days ago posted on the wrong subreddit. They posted on the JonBenet and they basically said, "Oh great, I can't believe this is like another hit piece. I wonder how much John and John Andrew got paid for this." Well, our little buddy John Andrew Ramsey decided to come out of hiding to post on Reddit, and it's again where like this is going to be you guys' spokesperson.
He just can't help himself.
He goes, no payout for us. I did get a sandwich and a chips. I passed on the cookie kind of sly shit. Like, oh, we didn't get paid for this. And it's like, motherfucker, you get paid for this in the fact that this is you guys' thing that's like going out in the world. Which also makes me think they paid for it again. Because you normally get paid for interviews like this. So if John Andrew saying they didn't, that means you guys paid for it.
It's something fucking fishy because they also interview them in Boulder, Colorado, and the Ramsey family, the surviving family, they don't live in Boulder, Colorado.
But they have them walking around like Boulder and shit, going to coffee shops.
Look how pensive in the fucking sunset over some fucking glassy goddamn fucking lake like they're in fucking Successions, when really they just suck in succession. It's a generation after generation of diminutive, spineless, fucking shadowy.
I mean, that is Succession still, then actually.
Well, yeah, on it.
But on it, like
they wish they was Successions. That's the point.
That is true. Yeah,
Yeah. But also, it's like, they interviewed them in Boulder. Who paid for the flight to Boulder? I mean, granted,
John's got his own plane.
He's got his own fucking plane. He's like, I'll pay
do it for free.
I'll pay for your camera people to come from Australia. How about that? And it's just
insane.
Follow the money.
It's a terrible, terrible thing. And me and Teddy's mission is, any kind of shit that's going to come out like this.
Yeah,
we're gonna immediately dissect it for you.
Well, it's like we have to because it's ongoing.
And this is the first time they've done press since we started doing this. So you guys be on the lookout because if you guys are gonna keep putting out this shit, we're gonna keep hitting back at you.
Ain't it interesting coincidence of sorts? We start this amazing investigative podcast that's finally bringing to light so many things that people didn't know or people couldn't connect and see a bigger picture with. And at the same time is when this the dynamic duo of John Ramseys come out of the woodwork and give out the fresh new stamp of their interpretation of events, where the parents were cleared, and 2 years.
It's not even fresh. It's they're recycling old bullshit that they know is old bullshit.
Yeah, even shit that was already debunked, but they also know that so much time has passed that most people will have forgotten about it, except the informed audience of JonBenet today. And that's the thing. They don't want a killer to be found because there is no killer. It was someone in that family,
in that house.
And we're circling the drain. We are approaching the whirlpool's pussy of the truth of even just the timelines that oftentimes people just didn't have the resources, didn't have the means, didn't have the intelligence to see and situate. And because of Bobby, because of me, maybe even a little because of Donna. Yeah, maybe. Shut up, Donna. Don't fucking look at me.
We hope you guys are seeing what they're doing.
You see what I'm talking about?
The power that they have, what they do with this PR. Again, we have no PR firm. Go fuck yourself. He
is a PR firm. Look at that.
Yeah, he tried to be he's a failed politician too.
Wow.
And it's you're not as charismatic. You're like, look, you can get away with killing your daughter, I guess, but that's not saying you did it. I'm just saying he's definitely complicit in something with this.
They didn't even show his newfangled Las Vegas, Nevada wife in this. They made it look like he's all on his own.
He has some arm candy.
Just waking up with a spring in his step, walking around Boulder, just looking for the fucking killer. Get fucked. That's not what he's doing.
You're a fucking liar.
John Andrew Ramsey, you also, if you were really going to be the face of this, you better come up with some good fucking answers for this cum blanket shit.
Yeah, and please, Mr. Cum Blanket, go ahead and can you tell me, can you forward us some evidence of your sister's being sexually assaulted before she was strangled, and can you also please ask confirm for us beyond some photograph apparently that you showed to somebody in some place where there's no fucking documentation of it, that you were in Atlanta, Georgia during Christmas Day 1996. And just while you're at it, thank you so much.
Yeah. Honestly, if you actually, I know you look at this stuff because you commented on the 60 Minutes post on the JonBenet subreddit, and I've seen your response to posts on the other one, so I know you're looking at the responses in there. So you see what's going on there, man. And they turn the comments off. But I'm just saying, you hear this? If you would like to come on here, please. We will have a healthy debate with you about this whole thing. Yeah, I would love it.
You're deciding to be a public figure, and you're choosing to be the ambassador of this Lou Schmidt's.
I'll give you 2 sandwiches. I'll give you 2 fucking sandwiches.
Yeah, and I will let you.
Teddy will give you lupus.
I was gonna say I was gonna let you if you wanted to. I was gonna let you stab me some ways.
No, we'll just we'll zoom it. But for real, open invitation, John Andrew Jar. As you always sign off, we would love for you to come on here and just refute. Honestly, I would love if you could turn me around.
Convince me.
It'll be on your terms too. Whatever. We won't use whatever you don't want to use.
We're pursuing the truth. And so when we pursue the truth, we keep an open mind. It's just that where we have found actual tangible and demonstrative evidence and clues, they have not directed us in the direction yet of what you claim. And it's also interesting that you're like, oh, we want to be on the hunt for this sadistic pedophile, blah, blah, blah. And you've said that for years. And I don't blame you. I mean, if my sister experienced what you said your sister experienced at the hands of a stranger, I would want that person mercilessly hunted down too by rabid wolves. And yet it's interesting that the day after your sister's death, you were quoted as saying that you would like to
give them forgiveness.
Give the killer forgiveness. Where is that forgiveness now, John Andrew Ramsey?
That's a good point.
Teddy,
we just wanted to do this little bonus episode for you guys, and we wanted to get that out there, and we're getting ready to do our Patsy one.
Oh,
so this is just a bonus coming out for you guys.
This is extra.
Also,
you're welcome.
Good to note. 60 Minutes. They said the Boulder Police wouldn't comment, for this documentary, but guess what?
What's that?
They commented for us, Teddy, and we're going to talk about that in the Patsy episode.
Oh.
The Boulder Police.
But yeah, the new chief of police responded to me.
Boulder Police chief. Police.
So interesting. 60 Minutes Australia hit piece can't get it, but JonBenet today's got it. So you guys tune in for the Patsy episode coming up. So we're pretty excited. Should we still do our closeout?
No.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
We'll do it. All right. Well, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Patty Ronald Reagan here.
And this is
JonBenet Today.